Hi, everyone. Welcome to those of you joining us live, and another welcome to those of you who are catching up on this in your own time, watching it back. Today, I'm joined by Hannah Wallace, who's speaking to me at Mind, Body, Spirit, all about her exciting workshop that she's doing with us at the end of this month in just a couple of weeks' time. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for taking the time to join me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's great to be here. I'm so excited about the show this year. I think it's going to have a even bigger energy than last year. I
Yeah.
can feel the momentum behind it. It feels great.
It's interesting you say that because when we did come back last year, it was after a couple of years of not being able to do the live festivals, obviously because of the way the world was. um and it was such a great success when we came back last year, so it's really nice to know that we're like moving forwards with strength into this year's as well.
Definitely. And I'm just so excited for people to be joining me in my workshop, to actually come and see me live. I think actually the magic of, and obviously my workshop is about reclaiming your magic, but the magic of seeing someone live is that connection you get through hearing that person's voice in real time, connecting with I feel like the movement, the sound, the tools, the meditation, it brings a whole new level to you when you're actually receiving that transmission in real time. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. Yeah, it that there's a magic to it, and I feel like that is the real magic about coming to this show. When we're doing it, we get to look around all the stuff, and then we get to come into these spaces and have this cocoon, where whether it's an hour and a half, and just to like receive in a way, because sometimes
Mm.
when we're doing things online or we're doing things outside, we can struggle to receive. So I feel like when we're in that space, we are forced to get present, we are forced to receive, to like turn down all the noise and just open ourselves up. And for me, that links in with reclaiming your magic, because there's so
Mm.
much going on in life, there's so many layers, and we were even talking about this before with the layers of life, with
Mm.
all of the things that these layers build up, from society,
Mm.
from all of the different things that can happen, and underneath all of that there is magic, and that
Mm.
is our own individual signature that we have. And there's a grace in that, and that's what we're going to be doing in this workshop. We're going to be peeling back those layers, understanding the stories that are below that. What's blocking you from your magic? What is your magic story, your individual magic story? Not
Yeah.
not not you and I will both have a different story, but
I was
what is
actually going to ask you because, we're talking about reclaiming your magic. People might be like, reclaiming? I didn't even know. I don't know what my magic is. Like, what do you mean by
yeah,
your own magic?
it's basically like this. We all have, when we're fully in that space of feeling in our kind of, power, when we're feeling good about ourselves, that's where our magic lies. When we're in alignment with what we want to do, we're feeling whatever that is, whether, because I think it can be, especially in our industry, it can be very directive. Okay, you've got to be doing it like this. But actually there's a magic. Let's say motherhood. Let's say you're doing a job that you love. Let's say you're helping somebody that you love. Our own magic story of what that looks like and what we need to reclaim around that actually taps us into feeling good and gets us on a nervous system level, because it comes down to safety essentially. Most of us feel safe in the place that we're in because that's where we're comfortable. And when we get to that base of actually what's below us, even if it feels good, that idea of like, okay, I would love to be doing that, or I want to be in my kind of full power for doing that, it doesn't always feel safe because we've spent so many years in that mode of feeling comfortable.
Mm.
So moving into that space where actually we're able to kind of come back to that story, why, what does feel uncomfortable there, why
Mm.
don't we quite feel safe, and what can we do to come back to that. And in this workshop, I'll be getting people on a nervous system level to tap into that. Do I feel safe? Because, it's great. We live in a world where now we have access to all these magical things, from manifestation to all of these things. The reason often why these things don't always kind of align, or people feel they're not working, is because on a nervous system level, when it comes to safety, they don't actually feel safe to receive. And if we do not feel safe to receive, we are not able to tap into that fully, or get get the most out of the things that were the tools, the techniques that we're putting out. So when we start reclaiming ourselves from that foundational level of what our magic story is, what's that going to look like? You know, what does your story look like to me? What feels good to you? How, when you're in a space where you're thinking, I feel magical today, I feel good about myself, or even if you're thinking, you know, I've had a few rough years. 5 years ago, I felt like this. What was at the foundation of that? And in this workshop, we're going to be getting into that space through. I'm going to be using obviously a meditation. I'm going to be using a little bit of movement. We're going to be putting out some kind of questions to get us to kind of really think about those things, because it comes down to us really sitting with, when somebody asks you a question, we've all been there when someone's asked us that kind of slightly challenging question and we think, oh, I don't know how that quite feels, I think I'm just going to avoid that. Or we're going to sit with those questions and feel what that feels like in our bodies on a body level. So that is going to be kind of the basis and essence of the workshop, and helping people to reclaim it by using things that really activate them on a, that they can feel it in their body, and they can feel that safe, receive that in their body as well.
So it's interesting that, because there's sort of some juxtaposition here in the workshop with what you were saying about the festival, that in a way, at the festival, and when we're surrounded by all of these practices, techniques, you've got the marketplace, you've got all the workshops, that actually you may be feeling like you're more in your magic and that you are in that safe space. So is there something that people are going to be able to do outside of the workshop? Is it going to give them a tool for them to be able to tap into that in their own time as well? Because like you're saying, our challenges of ordinary life might not be present when we're all at the festival on the bank holiday weekend.
Absolutely. And I mean, we are, I think, as well, in those spaces, it can feel quite exciting and overwhelming. I know for me, I get in there and I'm like kid in a sweet shop, and it's like sensory joy, isn't it? So to take away from the workshop, it will be that awareness that they'll be able to start to be able to differentiate between what they really want and what is actually what they think they want, because there is a very big difference when it comes down to thinking about, and also going away to think about what your story is, because we're, you know, nobody can unravel a story in a moment. We have to go away and sit with that and actually give ourselves time to digest. So it'll be going away with those prompts that I'll be giving them, to go away and sit with those prompts, and we have to sit. And because they will have had the activation from the meditation, and they would have in a way been able to tap into that and feel that energetic feeling anchoring in their body and grounding them in a way that, because I think when we are in a space where there's a lot of energy, it brings us out into our body. This will bring us back in. So have that moment coming to the space. We're going to get grounded so that you can go back out into the festival and you can receive all the things you're doing in a way that you possibly, when you're feeling that overwhelmed, you'll be able to receive in a more easier way. That's my intention, that people can go away to receive the things they need to receive, because I think that's what we struggle with as humans. It can be so much easier to give than receive, because receiving, we never know if it's safe, we never know if it's conditional, unconditional. So there's so many stories around that. So being able to open ourselves up to receive in a way that feels good helps us reclaim that magical part of ourselves, which then allows us to have the foundation to go away and do the things we want to do in our lives. Because we all know Rome's not built in a day. These things are all a process. And I think when we come to these workshops, it's having the intention that we're going to go away and use these as foundational building blocks to go away and be able to implement them in our lives, to be able to grow the things we want to grow in our lives.
I really love this, and that you're sharing about putting ourselves in the right state to be able to receive the right things for us. Because I do think a lot of the time, especially if we aren't grounded in ourselves in some way or another, we can get bombarded, and then of course, you know, receive, absorb, take on things that we're, I don't want to say being sold to, but you know, there are people who are incredibly convincing out there, and there's so much, especially when you're passionate about, you know, coming into flow and manifesting your life and creating the dream life. If you're then, you know, especially with social media, like that's a perfect example of when you've got all these really compelling people telling you, if you aren't in the right frequency to be able to understand what is right for me to receive right now, then you can go down all these different paths and they won't still lead you in the direction that you want to be going
Mm.
in. So I think it's very unique, this opportunity to tap in and to understand what is it that I want to receive and how does receiving the right thing
Mm.
feel, you know?
Absolutely. And also, like you make it's it's for all of us to recognize that when we're seeing all these things, I mean, we all want to live in the best way possible and all of the things.
Mm,
But what I would say is this: when it comes down to it, we actually do all want different things, and I think it can be very easy to be sold a lifestyle or sold an idea or sold. It even comes down to the things when someone says to us, you know, how much money do we want or something.
mm,
Everybody's going to have a different kind of energetic resonance and point there, and for some people, we all know that experiences are more important to them. Some people travel, and I think when
mm,
we're reclaiming our magic, we're starting to understand on a nervous system level, it doesn't, my success is not based on numbers. My success
mm,
is not based on this. My success is how does this feel in my body and my nervous
mm,
system. Does this feel good? Because if you are going and you've got a regulated nervous system, that's going to impact your life on a huge scale for that
mm,
doesn't just end with you, because that resonance from that will go out into the
mm,
world around you and who you're interacting with it within your close circles, and allow that to spread further. And it
mm,
becomes, we begin to understand our own kind of rhythm, our own
mm,
kind of song that is going to look ultimately different. And there, I think it can almost feel quite trapping sometimes, that we think in order that success has to look a certain way, or what we're looking to achieve has to look a certain way. It can be so easy to get caught up in that. We realize that's actually not quite what I really wanted. But we've gone so far down the rabbit hole
mm,
that we're giving away a bit of our magic. So this is actually coming back to ourselves and remembering that it's about that tailoring feeling. Like, you can take the ideas from the outside. I always say to people, it's great we have this like library of outside around us to kind of
mm,
take inspiration from. That's going to work for me, that's not. And even if someone is selling you something compelling, how does that feel at a foundational level? Is
mm,
that really what I want, or am I being sold into something that, yeah, it sounds great and looks good in theory, but is that what's feeling, what's really from a kind of heart-centered space, and right, and anchoring it into my body? Does it feel good?
beautiful. Really, really great. Hannah, just two more things. Of course, I want you to share um, when and where your workshop is so that everyone can go and get their tickets. But also, if you're with that, able to share a little tip for everyone that's watching today and catching up in their own time, that they can already begin to implement one of your teachings that can whet their appetite for your session with us.
This is very simple, and I want to, for anybody watching, just take some time out to sit down and close your eyes, placing your hand on your heart. And I want you to ask yourself that fundamental question about asking, is this what I want right now? Whatever's coming up in your day. And I want you to be really honest with yourself, because obviously nobody will be around you. How how does that feel in my body? How safe does that feel in my nervous system? And
Mm,
you may even be so used to bypassing in the way that oh, no, I'm okay. Really getting that feeling down into your body and learning to anchor yourself in your body, that can be the most transformative practice you can do going forward, because it means you're starting to connect that mind body connection together and building that trust. And what I would say with this tool, it's a continual practice, because it does build that trust. The more we do it and the more we ask ourselves that question, it starts to build that relationship of trust with ourselves, because we give away a lot of our trust as well, and we stop trusting ourselves, and we stop trusting our wisdom, our intuition, and what we already know, because we want to do better, we want to grow. So this is a
mm,
really good way to just come back and build that trust. And it sounds very simple, but it's like, you're a meditator, we're both meditators, we both know some days you have to just grab that 5 minutes, that corner, that 10 minutes, and it's that continual showing up to kind of bringing yourself back to your body and yourself, and just being in that state. So that
mm,
tool alone is, it's a very simplistic, in a way, meditation practice, but is more awareness based, in the sense of you're connecting your brain, what is that feeling, and asking
Mm.
yourself. The good thing is, the more you do that, you'll start peeling through the layers, because first of all, when we start doing things, we even trick ourselves out. So I would suggest just taking some time out, practice, maybe practice for 7 days and see what comes up. Start feeling what's in your body.
Mm. Oh, lovely. Really love that. And when can people actually, especially after their 7 days of practice, when can they join you at the festival? When is your workshop and where can they get their tickets?
Monday the 29th, and it's at 10:30, and it's going to be great. I'm just saying that. And also, I'm just putting that out there. Come and turn up.
Yeah.
And if you use, I know that if you use MBS 10 Hannah, you can actually get 10% off that workshop, which is very exciting. So yeah, come along and join me.
Oh, that's really great. And again, it really feeds into all the things that you were saying. It's beautiful that it's a morning workshop, on the last day of the festival, where people can then really tap into their nervous system and see what feels
Mm.
right for them as they then go
See what,
through the rest of the day at the
yeah,
festival.
and and also just having that time where you're giving yourself that kindness to
Mm.
self-regulate. I think the more I look back and I think, imagine if we were guided when we were much younger to know how to regulate ourselves on a more kind of soulful body level. Like, I know it would have saved me a lot of time.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's such a valid point. It makes me think of that too. Yeah, as kids, yeah,
Oh,
as children. Yeah,
absolutely.
lovely. Well, thank you so much. I know we went a bit over time, but it's always so lovely to chat to you, Hannah. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me and
Pleasure.
share, the magic of what's going to be in your workshop with us and with the community as well. So we're really looking forward to seeing you and see you on the 29th of May.
Can't wait.
See you soon. Bye.